Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from. Much respect to the brothers that are out there preaching and teaching the truth worldwide across the four corners of the earth, risking their lives and freedom for this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, the house of David, and the Akim and Akwaf that might be listening to this lesson on today. This is your brother Abba Yabba coming through with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And the title of my lesson is Serving with Consistency. Now, consistency is defined as the quality of achieving a level of performance which does not vary greatly in quality over time. Now, the reason that we have to have consistency is because it's owed to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. We should be consistent in our worship. We should be consistent in our works. We should be consistent in everything that we do for him, because if it had not been for him sending Yahweh Shai down for us, where would we be at this point? And we should take it as a requirement for us to be consistent, because we're looking for Yahweh Shai to come back and beam us up into those chariots when this place is blown to bits. And when I say blown to bits, meaning this kingdom, not the earth itself, because we know that the new kingdom will be here on earth. But not to stray away from the point, as far as our worship, our servitude, everything that we do for Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai should be consistent, because that is something that is owed. It's a requirement, basically. You know, you can look at what the men of the Lord did in the Bible, and it had to be consistent, whether it's obedience, servitude, or anything. You know, it had to be consistent. And we have to have humility, because it's not about us. It's all about Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And if we're arrogant, if we're thinking that it's about us in any type of way, and we do things in order for us to get any type of praise or any type of position, then we lose sight of what we're doing this for, period. So we have to understand that this is a consistency thing, and we can't lose sight of that when we're serving. So without further ado, I'm going to go into my scriptures. My first scripture is from Daniel 6:10, and it reads, it says, "Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his power, as he did aforetime." So no matter what the situation was, it became a law to where you cannot be praying at this point to another power. But Daniel knew that Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is who he served and who he was going to continue to serve, and he wanted to do it consistently, without hesitation or reservation, no matter what was before him, whether it been punishment or not. He was going to do what the Spirit led him to do, and that was pray. And he was consistent, and that's what we must do, no matter what comes before us, no matter what situation may arise. We have to be consistent, especially in our prayer life with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, because that is our way of communication, to show that we believe, to show that we understand who he is to us. We're praying, and if our prayers are hindered, or if we're inconsistent in our prayers, it's going to show in our serving, it's going to show in our lives, and we must be consistent in our prayers. As far as how we communicate, we must be consistent there as well, because we don't want to come off as being confusing. We don't want to come off as being to where it's not clear as to what we're saying. We have to be consistent in our communication, and constantly work on it if you know that there's something that's not your strong suit. Your communication has to be consistent. Matthew 5:37 reads, it says, "But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil." So we don't want to come off as being confusing, because we know confusion is not of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. He's not the author of confusion. So we know when we communicate, when we say that we're going to do a thing, that's what we do. We don't let it be something that has to be figured out. Because if that's the case with us, we have to examine that and make sure that we're not dealing with any type of demons upon us. Because it's easy to say yes or no. It's easy to be clear in your communication and be consistent in that as well. Matthew 6:24 reads, "No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon." And I put this one down because we have to be consistent in how we live our lives and how we serve Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We put him first before anything and everything, because he's the provider for us. No matter what hours we work, no matter what type of bag we think we're chasing, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, his will is going to be done. And he's going to make sure that we understand where our help comes from as we live our lives. We can't be out here putting money before Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because then, him being a jealous power, he will make sure that even that money you think you have can be gone if you're true servants, because he has to teach you a lesson. He has to let you understand that he comes first before everything, and not yourselves, and not your pleasures of this world, because we know everything in this world is temporary. We know everything that we're doing right now is temporary. This kingdom is temporary, but we're doing it to get that reward at the end. We're running this race. We're on this journey to receive that reward at the end. So we have to make sure that we're serving correctly and we're being consistent in our servitude. And that brings me to 1 Corinthians 15:58. And it says, "Therefore, my brethren, my beloved brethren," Salakia, "be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain." So as we're consistent in our dealings with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we're consistent in our works, consistent in our prayers, consistent in our fasting, consistent in following the law, statutes, and commandments, and we're doing it sincerely, we'll understand and have that clear, concise understanding of things, that it's not in vain. We're doing this for a reason. We're doing this because it's pleasing to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And most people will not understand that, because they're too busy chasing things of this world, chasing pleasures of their flesh, thinking that some type of status or position in this world means something. When all hell breaks loose, when Jacob's trouble really comes into effect, when all of these things come about, you have to have your relationship with Yahweh Shem Yahushua, a consistent relationship with him, and not one that wavers. Because if you're wavering, and if you're doing things that are not consistent, how do you expect to be saved in that time? How do you expect to be protected? How do you expect to be covered? How do you expect to be provided for? And we all desire that. So we have to make sure that we're doing things sincerely, and we have to do it with the fear first and foremost, but with the faith and with the foundation keeping us focused on the task at hand, because it's all about Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It's not about us, but we must be consistent in it, and we must understand that once again, it's all about him and not about us. And we know that we have things that we have to do, and we have to sacrifice in order for him to continue to protect us, provide for us, deliver us, and heal us. So if we're asking things of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we must be willing to make that sacrifice, to be consistent, to be immovable, to be steadfast, to be all those things that he needs from us and that he desires from us in order for him to get the honor, glory, and praise, and also for us to be on those chariots at the end of the day. Galatians 6:9 reads, it says, "And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." So, first and foremost, we should desire to do good. We should desire to do the things of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We should desire to make lessons warning the flock. We should desire to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. We should desire to be a help and have brotherly love amongst the brethren, and even the few sisters that are out there that are truly and sincere in their praise and worship and belief in this truth. We should desire to be good. And there's no man that's truly good. Yahweh said that. He said there's no man good but the Father, but we should desire to do good, do the works. And if we do that, then we'll reap the benefits of doing that when it's all said and done. If we don't fall out, if we don't give up. Because once again, it's about consistency. If we're doing it consistently, then we don't have to worry about, oh, I'm going to take this time off, or I forgot about doing this. Because if you're doing it consistently, then it becomes like muscle memory. You'll feel different when you don't do it. So if you're fasting consistently, then you'll feel a way if you don't fast. If you're praying consistently, with consistency, then you'll understand the feeling that you're feeling when you're not praying. Everything has a cause and effect. And we should understand that through doing the work and doing it for the honor, glory, and praise of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, then everything works out for our good. And we desire for those crowns to be put up on our heads by Yahweh Shai when we're on those chariots. So we want to be consistent in what we do each and every day. This next scripture is one that we should also think about, and that should bring fear to us if we're not being consistent in doing the work. Because in Revelations 3:15 and 16, it reads, it says, "I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth." So if you're not consistent and consistently on fire for Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you don't have to worry about being on those chariots. Because it says here, if you're lukewarm, he'll spew you out of his mouth, Salakia. If you're cold, that means you don't even believe. You rather be consistent and be on fire for Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And those that are around you, you desire for them to be that as well, because that brings you to understand when you're falling off. You want to be in the midst of someone that is on fire, because iron sharpens iron. You'll be in the midst of someone that will keep you motivated, keep you in a state of mind to serve consistently and be on fire serving. And this is not a game. This is not a fill in the square type of thing. This is not something that you have a habit because it's something that, is a fad or anything. This is not a fad. This is spirituality at its best. And we need to make sure that we have our minds stayed upon Yahweh Shem Yahushua, examining ourselves, making sure that we're consistent, making sure that we're understanding that we don't want Yahweh Shai to come back and we be destroyed. We want to be with him. We desire to be with him. So we have to do the things that's going to allow us to be with him. And consistency is one of those things. It's not all of it, but consistency is one of those things. And we have to make sure that that is us. And we're synonymous with consistency. Faith fear. Our foundation is this word and this truth. Obedience, humility, amongst many other things, but those are the things that should come to mind when you wake up in the morning and you have the ability to serve. Because we don't want to come before Yahweh Shai and have excuses, because those excuses will mean nothing. We want to be consistent, so when he comes back, we'll be amongst other brethren and a few sisters and be able to rejoice in that time. So that's the conclusion of my lesson. I pray that all that were listening were edified. And as always, I give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. And until my next lesson, Shalom.